So right now, how do you see design contributing to generative AI customer experience? So what is the part that a designer would do in order to think about the user experience here?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, it becomes on, I would say, the different stages of where you're going to be deploying Gen AI. So the first stage would be, maybe just the basic, you're using maybe, again, some NL enhancement, or maybe just to generate some prompts, things like that, that a lot of the products on the market are doing today. As you progress up the ladder to stages 3, 4, 5, so I think I saw like around stage 4 is where autonomous bots kind of start to happen, and that's where it kind of changes where what the roles started. It's kind of more of a paradigm shift when you get to an autonomous bot level. So yeah, so really around like stage 1, 2, I would say we're still conversation designers in that sense. We're just have a different toolkit beneath us. Once you get to stage 4, which is, I would say, autonomous bots, and then other things as well, but autonomous bots are in that stage 4. That's where the paradigm shift really becomes, no, we are not designing the conversation anymore. We're guiding it through whatever you want to call it, prompt engineers, AI trainers, whatever you'd want to call it. We're designing something. We can't design the conversation anymore. The bot's doing the conversation. All we're doing is engineering the system to produce what we need it to produce as much as possible, putting those guardrails on, putting the limitations, the connecting it to the data sources, things like that. So very similar what we do as conversation designers today, but in a much different way. So yeah, so it's more of again, it's we're stepping outside the box. Right now we're very in the box. So we're going to be
Right.
stepping
We're
outside the
creating
box.
the box, actually.
Exactly. And letting it kind of do its thing while we're kind of monitoring it, becoming kind of the owners, the parents, whatever you want to call of that, versus kind of making, creating every last detail. It's kind of, I like to use humans in a lot of analogies that I use too. So, before, it's just like sort of raising children, right? Whereas like I can create these little things, these babies, but generally I can't control every last detail of, I can't control their genetics. I can't control what they learn. I can't control their outside experiences. So it's very similar to this, is that I have this thing now that I can't really control 100%, but I can teach it as much as I possibly can to give it the best life forward. So if I think of it like that, it's a lot easier to kind of mirror stomach, where you don't have this rogue Gen AI bot that's going to take over the world one day. I think it's much more simple than that, and it's a little bit more tangible when you think of it like
Yeah, for sure. So give me an example. Does it make sense that you need to learn a different kind of prompt engineering for a different type of Gen AI API? Is it different, or is more or less the same?
like across the conversation design industry, I would say generally, no matter if you're looking at different verticals or different, I think the only thing that might be different is that the prompts I've seen on the different, depending on what Gen AI platform you use, like I've experimented with, ChatGPT, but then there's also a couple others that I've done as well. And generally the inputs will result in different results. So and it's probably because of they're also what they've been trained with as well too. But
Mhm.
yeah, what I would say in exactly the same prompt in one system versus the other system would give me a very different result. So I think it's also not only understanding what your prompt is and how to phrase it, but also what the output will be depending on what integration you are using with which Gen AI system. So there's that consideration, but generally I think, yeah, no matter what vertical, I think there's similarities that will take place, but it becomes more important on the testing of it. So like, is
Mm,
my prompt actually going to be generating what I want it to do?
yeah.
So I think that's more the key about it. So if you understand those best practices and principles, I think you'll be able to adapt no matter what
Mm, I
paradigm
see.
or platform you're on. Yeah.